But here we go, guys. This is a video by the man named James Pumphrey. And I'm going to put a link in the chat right off rip so that we can make sure people know, hey, this is not my video. I am hashtag reacting. I will probably pause the video at times. And I need you guys at first to tell me how the volume is. Want to make sure it's fairly listenable, not too loud, not too quiet kind of a thing. And we're going to check it out. We watched his video on Carhartt, how Carhartt basically started. And this is a video called Stussy, the rise of America's second most important clothing brand. I wonder what the first one was. Let's check it out.
Before Supreme, before Bape, before even Tommy Hilfiger, there was Stüssy.
Stussy.
It might sound bold, but there's a strong case to be made that Stüssy is
every bit as influential as Ralph Lauren. That's crazy. That's a crazy claim, because if you think about Ralph Lauren, he literally created the polo design. Like, I don't know. Let's see what he has to say. I kind of like what he's cooking up though.
Legitimately.
Streetwear
was once rooted in subcultures. It's now firmly entrenched in the modern.
And that is true, right? We've seen this. Supreme Louis Vuitton, huge on doing that.
Sean and his namesake brand have done more than set an example for others to follow. They've played an active role in propagating the field of streetwear as we know it today.
I mean, obviously I was too young to know about the early comings of Stussy, the early days, but the fact that they still are making drops, they still are doing things is pretty cool.
And while it may not reach the same hype heights as Supreme or Palace or Amy Leon Dore, it's far from a legacy act. It consistently delivers hits on multiple fronts, maintaining its core DNA long after Sean himself left, while delivering inspired, fashion-forward pieces alongside the essentials of streetwear. But here's the question, okay?
What's the question?
How in the hell did a small surfboard shop from Laguna Beach end up laying the foundation for streetwear?
I feel like he's going to tell us. And to be honest, guys, I don't know much about the history of Stussy. I just know that it was started by Sean Stussy. I know it was a surf skate brand. I know they had that logo, but I'm really curious to see what he's going to get into. This is a long video. This is like a 30-minute video.
As a global phenomenon. And here's an even better question.
What's
Why and how has Stussy, even after all these years, remained so influential in a space that's notorious for chasing the next big thing?
I think maybe I think there's definitely a bias for Stussy to be a West Coast thing. Am I crazy? Because I didn't see any Stussy growing up in Indiana in the Midwest. I mean, eventually it did come down to like Zoomies, you write one up, but I didn't see a lot of Stussy growing up. Jebbia made Stussy famous, to be fair. Let's see.
This is one of, if not my favorite brand consistently throughout my life.
James's favorite brand.
Story, and I'm so excited to tell you about it. Welcome to Speed. This is everything you need to know about Stussy.
All right, let's see it. 60%, 65% Premiere, 18.5 After Effects. I like that.
Sean Stussy, whose name does not
Sean
have an
Stussy
umlaut, began shaping surfboards.
Wait, he doesn't have an umlaut in his name? Fuck.
What a little grom. He learned how to screen print even earlier than that, at 12. His parents owned a printing shop.
All right, so he was cooking at an early age.
In 1979, Sean opened a Laguna Beach surf shop where he'd make and
Wait, how
sell
old was he?
his own surfboards.
That's pretty
He
cool.
had already been well known around the scene for his shaping while he was working at Russell Surfboards, which is still
Yeah,
around
fake news,
today.
no
You go
fucking
visit
umlaut.
in Newport Beach. Tell them Sean sent you. They'd probably love that. Rolled up into Russell Surfboards and you're like, hey, is Sean here?
Yo,
And
Sean.
they're like, who? Sean Stussy. No,
Come on,
Sean
brah.
hasn't worked here since 1978. What? What year is it? 2024. I overslept.
Fuck. I hate when that happens.
And then you run out of there as fast as
You get out of that bitch.
Sean's boards were known for their quality, but also for their colorful artwork inspired.
That's cool, man. I feel like that was a perfect era, like surf culture in the 70s, early 80s in LA, in California. You're making a name for yourself with colorful surfboards. I mean, you already know how to screen print tees. I feel like we all kind of know how this is going to get started. I'm curious to see how he scales the business.
By punk, reggae,
I feel like there's got to be either a really famous person wears it and gets exposed to a wider audience, or B, he gets some kind of investor. Some guy kind of comes in, he gets a right-hand man. That's my thing. I think either a famous person will wear it or he gets an investor.
and hip hop. Now you can tell that he's influenced by all these things if you're familiar with any of the OG Stussy designs. And I want to say right at the top, I'm fully aware of the fact that if in 2024 some white guy came out with a brand and was like, hey, I got this reggae cartoon on all my shirts, I don't think it would do as well. But hey, different.
I don't know.
times.
I think it
Sean
depends on your
also
tact.
drew
I think you could still do
inspiration
that.
from his uncle, the abstract painter
I don't know.
Jan Frederick Stussy. Is one of his paintings here, as well as
That was his uncle?
graffiti, the coolest way to write your
Graffiti is so cool.
name. Now, if Stussy's hand-scrawled logo reminds you of a tag, it's because it essentially is. So, good job.
Nice.
Each of Sean's surfboards featured his famous signature, written in big.
I wish I had a good signature. I have a decent one.
Marker.
I'm not gonna lie, it's
Years
not
before
bad.
Cover T-shirts.
Could
all
be
over
better
the world.
though. Yeah.
Sean told
Nice
the
job,
surf
James.
lifestyle site Empire Ave.
It's 78, 79, it's Sex Pistols and The Clash.
Sex
It's America.
Pistols.
So, I'm a pug guy. I'm gonna start my own business. And the last thing I want
For sure,
to do
it is one of the
make
best.
boards like what I thought were the old days. Even though they were guys I respected. I was like, F you old guy.
Hey, fuck you guys.
Stussy and broke away at the end of 79 and made my first Stussy board.
The Stussy logo and Sean's wider aesthetic carried over to t-shirts, which were originally made to promote the surfboard business. Sean had no plans to sell them.
Okay.
He went to find buyers for his surfboard
So here we go.
at the second ever Action Sports Retailer Trade Show. So he printed
Ah.
at least one black
So it was a trade show. So he's, he's collaborating, he's networking with fellow surf shop sellers.
t-shirt with the Stussy logo on it to wear as he was selling surfboards. And people were like,
Dude, what is that?
And he was like, that's my name. And they were like, we love how you write it. It looks sick on a t-shirt. Can I buy one?
No way.
And at
Okay.
first, he was like, no. I only have this many for me and my theoretical boys to wear. Can I interest you?
You
in a
gotta have your
surfboard? It
theoretical
also has
boys.
my name on it. And people were like, really not in the market for a surfboard. I mean, there's a lot of options here. This is the second ever Action Sports Retail.
That's kind of cool. So he just had a cool logo. Dude, this couldn't work today. This couldn't work today. I disagree with James talking about like the reggae art, saying like, if you're white, you can't put a reggae design. That's whatever. But like, you can't sell a brand off a logo today. And that's the funny part, is because everybody that has a brand, not everybody, but like a lot of people that create these streetwear brands think they can do this. But it's a lot harder.
But so many people asked him for their shirts that after 3 days, he'd sold 24 surfboards, but had orders for 1,000 t-shirts.
Damn. 1,000 t-shirts versus 24 surfboards. I mean, do the math, guys. That's not bad. How many times more is that? That's like 50 times more.
That the next show.
Is that right?
6 months later, Sean came prepared with
24
two
times
t-shirt
50.
designs to sell.
That's close
here's your
enough.
shirt. I came prepared.
1200.
Oh, I like that design as well. I'll take it.
Mmm. Little 2 for 2?
Board now? No, but I would like to buy your shorts. You're weird. He's wearing a pair of cut-off chinos that he bought from the Army Navy store, and people were like, "Oh, damn, dude, those are so much more punk than the ocean."
Bro, this guy got so fucking lucky. He just was wearing cool shit, and people were like, "Hell yeah, let me buy that."
Pacific shorts.
I mean, he had good style. Hey, fair enough.
Are favored by most surfers.
No
at
logo
this
would be a
time.
sick name for a
Sean
brand.
Exhausted his supply after tracking
And you just
down
didn't have a
300
logo?
to 400 more
could be
pairs
kinda cool.
in the next 6 months to fulfill orders. So he turned to his aunt and was like, "Aunt, Stussy's making cut and sew." And they put together Stussy's first pattern for a pair of shorts.
What does that mean?
Stussy's
I've said
first
cut and sew
pattern.
before, and I feel like I don't know the full definition.
He turned to his aunt and was like, "Aunt, Stussy's making cut and sew."
There wasn't the flow of brands like there was today. Cut and sew, noun, a garment production method where fabric is cut and sewn together from scratch, allowing for custom designs and fits. I guess I knew that. So that's about what I thought it was.
They put together Stussy's first pattern for a pair of shorts. Cut and sew, baby. I love this. This is quite literally the American dream.
It
In
is.
1984, Sean partnered with a registered accountant.
There he is. Oh, fuck. I did it again.
He invested $5,000 to help.
Shit.
Not that one.
Shit. Why is it in picture in picture? All right, let's get back to tab. Rewind. There we go.
Quite literally the American dream. In 1984,
My bad.
Sean partnered with a registered accountant, Frank Sinatra Jr., and he invested $5,000
There it is.
to help. Not that one.
There it is.
Okay, so there's a Frank Sinatra who's a very famous singer.
Did he say
He has a son, very
$5,000?
famous. In 1984, Sean partnered with a registered accountant, Frank Sinatra Jr., and he invested $5,000.
That's not that much.
Not that one. Okay,
100%.
Frank
Sean of
Sinatra.
St. Louisville or Loserville. Remember, real friends will still pay for your brand or pay for your stuff when you make your own brand. Yeah.
Who's a very famous singer. He has a son, very famous.
And I hope you guys all will one day
Sinatra Jr.,
consider buying a
who's also
SupThomas t-shirt
singer,
if they look good
husband, and
enough.
his dad. This is a complete.
But we're waiting to do that.
Frank Sinatra Jr., who had a dad, I assume, whose name is Frank Sinatra, and like his dad wasn't like, "Hey, I grew up with the same name as one of the most famous."
So there's a
men
Frank
on the
Sinatra in the
planet.
mix? That's
I'm
kind
gonna
of
put that on
crazy.
my son too.
I didn't know about
I
that.
gave this channel the same name, different spelling as one of the most famous streamers on the planet.
He did do
So
that.
really-
Speed versus iShowSpeed, but he's got 3 E's in it. So that's, different enough.
He invested $5,000 to help launch a proper clothing brand.
I guess in the
Juice's initial offerings
1981,
included
1980.
t-shirts and workwear inspired apparel, the latter of which we touched on a bit in our video about Carhartt.
Yeah,
If you
check out the
haven't watched
Carhartt
it,
video,
go ahead and
guys.
do it.
We did a reaction to it as well, but you can definitely still go check out the original. Definitely give it a like. Definitely subscribe to this channel.
While you're at it, I encourage you
Not to say that he needs it.
to hit that
Subscribe to me
button.
first, but
It really contributes to how I feel about myself. There is a one-to-one comparison with how many views and subs we get and myself.
I'm the same
In a New
way.
York Times story from 1992, Sean himself explained the signature Stussy look.
It's a ragamuffin thing, a utilitarian kind of look. The colors are muted so they stay clean. It's basically an attitude that reflects what's going on now. I don't know if it's harder or tougher, but it's less frou-frou.
Okay.
Everybody calls it surfwear or urban streetwear or surf street.
Surf
They're all
street.
names. I don't name it, and I don't name it on purpose. I just make basic clothes that a 10-year-old can wear and my dad can wear.
Interesting.
And that is a great quote, and it really does.
That's pretty cool.
Hard for me because that's how I've always approached videos. I want to make something that a 10-year-old can watch,
Okay.
and that my dad can watch. It's very cool that a creator in that space that I really look up to shares that.
That's a
sentiment.
cool ambition, I
It just
guess.
makes me like the brand that much more.
You know,
because, you
make
stuff
it
for other people,
Viewable
not
for
yourself.
all people.
Pants and shirts and jackets and hats.
Wow.
So this is a big deal. So
There you go.
know how like every single brand on the planet
Dude,
has...
the hat. This is interesting. I'm curious to see how Stussy continued or kind of found their way in the hat world. Because hats have changed a lot, guys. If you look back 15 years, it was all about the new era fitted caps, lids. That's all you saw. And I feel like before, in my opinion, before I saw Supreme, I never knew what a camp hat was, 6-panel, 5-panel. I didn't know about any of that shit. All I knew was like new era fitteds and baseball hats. That's all I knew.
Their logo on a baseball hat. This is ASAP Rocky's brand.
Yep.
Here's an Iraq, New York.
Nice.
Sci-fi fantasy luxury brand. This guy. I
Donut.
even have my name on a hat.
James hat.
Before Sean Stussy.
Come on, James. Where's your Supreme hat, bro? Where's your S logo? Trucker hats. Yep. Truckers have always been big. That's facts. That's facts. One up. That's facts.
It was only baseball teams. No one put 2 and 2 together and was like, you know what we should do? We should put our logo on a hat. And that's exactly what he did.
Really? Did he do that before Ralph Lauren? I'm curious to see if anyone in the chat can look it up. When did Ralph Lauren put their logo on a hat for the first time? If anyone can get that, I'd like to see that. I feel like Ralph would have done it first, but maybe Stussy did.
He was like, baseball hats are a thing that young men like to wear. What if I put the Stussy logo on one? Dude, no one thought of that?
Really?
Across the board,
Okay.
a lot of people credit Sean Stussy for being the first designer to put his logo on a baseball hat.
Okay, maybe he's right then. I imagine that he did a lot of research for this video. So we'll take it for what that's worth.
If he quit doing forever after that, and that was all he did, that would be a huge accomplishment.
True.
But as you'll find out in the rest of this video, he did a lot more than that. Very cool guy. So Sean puts his logo on a hat, and they took off like my dad on Christmas Eve.
Aw.
By the late 1980s, hat sales accounted for 20% of
20%?
Stussy's business. And Stussy's business, ladies, was good.
Damn.
$17 million in annual revenue in 1990. Sean established an identifiable design language from the jump. With the
That's what you need. You need identifiable design language. That is the most important thing for your brand, in my opinion. Everyone has a logo nowadays. Everyone has a collective of a phrase like, yeah, you know, whatever. We're the fucking get money boys. That's great. But if you don't have any kind of discernible design language, you can't parse it out from everyone else.
handwritten Stussy font, of course, being omnipresent, which means always there, which is also the opposite of my dad.
Damn.
We're back, baby! The logo was often mixed with images, collage style, embodying punk DIY aesthetics. Look at some of these things.
Let's see.
Stussy's
That's cool, man.
iconic Surfer Man graphic also dates back to the 80s.
The Surfer
as do
Man.
various riffs on the letter S that are still used today. The brand's affinity for the 8-ball design began in those early days as well, and so did its spoofs on high fashion logos that have inspired.
Yeah, the double S, classic Chanel inspired. And I guess Stussy did come out before Supreme. So I gotta give it to Stussy on ripping off the designer logos, or, you know, making a little wink wink nudge nudge. Definitely would have been before Supreme.
A number of other streetwear brands. This is like one of the coolest things to me that Stussy's done.
Let's see.
And was like the first to do. So this is my favorite Stussy logo.
Double S,
Stussy
baby.
Chanel. Because Sean Stussy had same letter initials, just like Coco Chanel.
Yep.
Get it? Stussy referenced
I get it.
Chanel again by mimicking the logo on Chanel's famous number 5 perfume on Stussy's number 4 t-shirt. It also took on Louis Vuitton years before Tyler the Creator, Pharrell, and Virgil with the Stewie Vuitton monogram.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Do you guys know about
It
the
also took
Stussy
on
monogram?
Louis Vuitton years before Tyler the Creator, Pharrell, and Virgil with the
That's a really cool zip up. That's super sick. Did they get cease and desisted? I guess we'll find out.
Louis Vuitton monogram that drew a lawsuit more than a decade before it sued Supreme for the same offense.
There you go. And we've talked about that in my Supreme video about the history of Louis Vuitton. Check that out. It is the pinned video. If you go to my channel, click on my name and look at the home screen, I think you should see my history of Supreme, which is one of my only like heavily edited videos that I have on Supreme because they take a long time to make.
Stussy's first world tour t-shirt, another long-lasting motif, dropped in 1989.
World tour is sick.
While calling out London, Paris, Los Angeles, New York City, and Tokyo.
Actually, the shirt that I'm wearing right now is also a world tour shirt. I'll give you a quick little look at it. So big fan of world tour shirts.
This is on a ton of
All right, sorry for
Stussy
pausing
shirts,
so much.
And I always assumed that it started.
I'm trying to make it
because
a
that's
react
where Stüssy's
video. I
stores
gotta
were.
react.
Nope. Sean had been traveling the world, and it turns out that those were just cities that he visited and liked and had friends in.
That's
Now,
cool.
Traveling to those cities
So he actually had a tie to the cities.
Huge effect on him. And the friends that he made in those cities would go on to form the International Stussy Tribe. Now, whether
Ooh.
taking direct roles in Stussy's business
Stussy International.
or more informally holding up the brand as something cool to follow, the tribe formed by Sean became streetwear's super spreaders. This video is sponsored by Ridge Wallet, the #1 slim wallet. I drive a lot, and whenever I'm in the car for an extended period of time,
Oh, we got a nice
I have my wallet in my back
ad right
pocket.
here. So we'll watch the ad.
Usually I will take my wallet out of my
So
pocket,
buy the Ridge wallet
put
if you
in the
want it.
door, and then I forget about it. And the door is not a good place.
You want to
for your
support
wallet
James, I guess.
if you're about to spend money in a store.
He has dope production value, man.
That's where today's
Sick car too.
sponsor comes in. Ridge wallets
E30?
are designed for your front pockets.
I think.
So if driving is your hobby like me, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Or if you like ride the subway every day.
Anyone ever
Or if you
copped a
just
Ridge
spend a lot of
wallet?
time in a waiting room, like waiting for
I've never had one.
doctors or court.
I got my Burberry
You
wallet.
spend a lot of time on your bottom and you don't want a big bulky wallet back there. Ridge.
Yeah, it's a nice E30, isn't it?
Humphrey, step up to the bench.
They're also super rugged and
Is it
carry a
M3
lifetime
though?
warranty.
Probably is.
Ridge wallets come in over 50 different colorways.
Maybe
This
not
one is tobacco brown leather.
though. Ooh.
You can also mix and match colors to make them truly your own. That's what I did with this car. I mixed this color with that color. I matched this color
Ooh.
with that color.
Okay.
Your wallet can be a thing that represents who you are. And they offer RFID protection
What?
to keep Mr. Robot from stealing your information.
Is that really a problem? I've
And
always
on
heard about the
subject
RFID
cars,
thing.
they
Does
also
that
have
actually
a new
happen to
key
people?
case. So if you want to keep the slim party going, jangly keys are a thing of the past, Jack. Oh, and here's a little pro tip. These make great gifts for men and boys. Get your holiday shopping done now.
Get it done.
Don't do anything for the rest of the year.
Get it done, guys. Buy the wallet.
Genius.
After you buy my affiliate links in the
Visit
description down below.
ridge.com/speed with 3 E's and enter promo code SPEED with 3 E's to get 10% off your purchase.
Damn, that's a deal.
Now, Sean Stussy is the senpai of streetwear.
Senpai.
A New York City boutique called Union is where a lot of the guys who learned from senpais were found.
Okay.
A dude by the name of James Jebbia opened
We might know who this guy is.
Union in 1989.
Oh, I didn't know that. So James
By all
Jebbia opened
accounts,
Union?
This was a very
I didn't
hip
know that.
store.
What?
So Jebbia wanted to stock Stussy in his Union store.
Do I have a
but
discount code for
at
Supreme?
this point,
Yeah, dude.
Sean
Use
was
code
very
SupThomas at
protective
checkout.
about the places he would allow to carry Stussy. So he turned him down. Eventually, through a friend, They hung out and they got to know each other. Sean started to really like James. Eventually, he let him carry Stussy in his store, and when it came time for Stussy to open his own New York City location in 1990, he tapped Gebbia to take charge. Word on the street is it was actually James Gebbia's idea to open a Stussy store in New York.
That's cool.
That same year, Stussy went to Japan and threw the very first International Stussy Tribe party. Now, the group had already started informally in the late 80s, but this party in Japan is where the moniker first showed up on Garms. That's the
Garms.
version. Put a ring on it.
It's
Are
garments.
we official? Do we have matching jackets with the name of our team on it? No? Okay. I'm going to keep looking for a group of friends. No, they would put it on Garm.
Does it really?
Party,
I'm sure
Sean
it does.
Put it on Garm, embroidering International Stussy Tribe on personalized varsity
That's
jackets,
really cool.
given exclusively to this band of like-minded
You got to know somebody to get one of those.
Now, these guys were the original tastemakers and influencers of streetwear, a group of real friends, an undeniable force for marketing.
Real friends. That must be nice.
Of trickle-down driponomics.
Ooh,
The London
love
chapter
that.
included Michael Kopelman, founder of Gimme 5, a brand and streetwear distributor that is credited for bringing Stussy and Bape to Europe.
Wow.
There was also Alex Turnbull, a DJ, record label owner, and filmmaker. Cool resume, dog. Even Mick Jones of The Clash and Big Audio Dynamite was a member. From New York, you had James Gebbia.
Gebbia.
Supreme.
All hail
Eddie
Gebbia.
Cruz, who would become the founder of Undefeated. Paul Middleman.
No way.
Early streetwear
Shout out
god,
to,
who would eventually
Undefeated.
Take over as global creative director after Sean leaves.
Dude, these guys were cooking. He just had friends with Supreme's owner, fucking the guy that brought Bape and Stussy to Europe, Undefeated owner, DJs. That's really cool.
Spoiler alert, more on that later. This guy has the coolest LinkedIn I have ever seen.
Let's see it.
In my life. And
Adidas.
he's still going.
Damn.
You also had Dante Ross, the Tommy Boy Records exec, who signed De La Soul and Busta Rhymes.
Wow.
As well as Keith Haring, a very famous artist.
Keith Haring,
In
shout
Italy,
out.
You had Luca Benini, the man behind Slam Jam, which is the retailer and distributor
Okay.
that played a large role in
I know Slam Jam.
Europeans' growth. And in Tokyo, you had Hiroshi Fujiwara. You ever heard of him? Fujiwara
think so.
was never directly involved in
What did
Stussy's
what did
business,
Fujiwara
but
do?
Definitely influenced.
I recognize
Stussy
the name.
Inspired him to start printing his own T-shirts under the label Good Enough, which
Good
would
enough.
then give way
Fragment design.
Fragment
That's it.
Design.
That's it.
In a 2015 interview, Paul said, "The tribe happened before the growth of the brand. It appeared as a form of mutual respect."
See,
between
organic
like-minded
growth is
people
always going to be better
without
than
any
forcing your brand to like
or motive of
become
commercial
something.
growth, which, of course, is authenticity.
There it is.
You had to know someone to be in on the look. You
couldn't just buy into it.
buy into it.
Probably were one
The
up.
tribe helped spread the gospel of Stussy by word of mouth, and they would also feature heavily in Stussy's campaign.
You really
Now,
can't
these
beat word of
spreads
mouth
opted
advertising.
for a lo-fi DIY aesthetic, matching that of Stussy's now famous tees and its roots in punk. Now, while Gebbia was running Stussy's NYC store, Eddie Cruz took over operations for Union.
Okay.
Then, in 1992,
What happened?
Union and Stussy decided to open a joint Los Angeles store
Called
known as the Stussy Union.
Stussy
sending Eddie to
Union.
the West Coast to manage it.
Interesting.
Now, eventually,
Mhm.
the two parties grew into their own individual
Social media of the
spaces,
past.
but they still, to this day, sit directly next to each other.
That's
In
cool.
the same spot on La Brea Avenue. I have Union shoes. You want to see them?
What are they? The
So I
Dunks?
got these Union shoes.
Nice. Those are sleepers.
Ones, and then I got Union
Jordan 1 lows.
As you
Those are
can
cool
tell,
too.
I'm big into resale. I keep them crispy. I'm not really into sneakers, but Union J4s are the only sneakers that I want and have never bought.
Yeah, Union was cooking in 2020 era.
In 1994, James Gebbia started his own brand and opened his own store.
You guys ever heard
just
of
a
it?
4-minute
Supreme?
walk away from Stussy, New York. Now,
It's pretty
you
cool.
may have heard of it. It's called Supreme.
All right, members, let's get some Supreme box logos in the chat. Come on.
JK, dude. I'm born and raised in LA with the Fairfax High, dude. Lucas is my brother.
Fairfax High.
James told legendary cool guy Glenn O'Brien for Interview Magazine in 2009.
Yep.
I have a Stussy store right here in Prince Street, but Sean didn't know whether he was gonna do it for that long. He'd made a ton of money, and then I think he decided to retire. So I thought, I'd better be doing something else too, because I don't want to count on this.
That's sick, dude. Dude was like, oh well, better do something.
Something, dude.
Make $1 billion brand.
Yeah, I guess I'll just make Supreme.
Some conflicting reports under what terms Sean did eventually leave Stussy in 1996. Some say he left on good terms.
Interesting.
More time with his family. Others say he wasn't exactly stoked to leave.
Seems pretty early for him to leave the brand.
And business side.
96?
What is that like? I have no idea. Can you imagine? You spend a big chunk of your life like building a really strong brand, and then some business guys come in, and then
yeah, it's gotta suck.
Hold on, this is getting kind of weird and like not fun. And
yeah,
not
honestly,
cool.
we gotta thank Stussy for Supreme, guys. I mean, just listening to all this, I mean, Jebbia was connected with Sean Stussy, worked for him, helped him distribute it at Stussy or at Union or whatever, and then without Sean Stussy, we wouldn't have Supreme. Hey, shout out Beta Soy Chad from Japan, 1:15 a.m.
Like what this is supposed to be. I've never experienced anything remotely similar to this, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's a crazy world.
Surfing
Quicksilver
and skateboarded exploded in the 90s.
Yep,
and
X
with
Games.
it, a ton of people wanted to dress like surfers and skateboarders. That's how nature works. This brought the culture to the forefront, and also a bunch of competition for Stussy with brands like Billabong, Quicksilver, Rip Curl, and especially
Rip Curl.
Mossimo.
Mossimo.
You guys remember Mossimo?
Yep.
I was a child back then, and I didn't have money.
Mossimo was sick.
To decide what I bought, and if I wanted to dress like a surfer, my mom didn't know the difference between Stussy and Mossimo.
Yeah, you're getting the Mossimo,
they
son.
looked the same. And if Mossimo was easier for her to purchase, and I still look like a little poser ass surfer,
what a fit.
Done. Time to make some London broil. She doesn't care about like, well, actually, this dude's legit. He's very careful about what retailers he lets carry his stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
So Mossimo was fairly obvious in its intent to steal Stussy's thunder. Even their logo was extremely similar. And Mossimo chased growth in a way that Stussy had never done, essentially squeezing Stussy out at the time, but ultimately starting down a path to its own doom further down the line. They prioritized immediate gains, trying to sell as many shirts and hats and as they could.
So they just went for the fucking water it down, let everyone get in on it, you know? That's the way trends work. You got the trendsetters, early adopters, and then you got mass market, and that's just the way it goes, folks.
Fast as they could. Now, Stussy decided not to play into this game and opted to weather the storm with a different approach.
Let's see how they did it.
Seeing that the brand was losing steam in America, Frank Sinatra Jr. shifted its focus to the international market.
Let's go international.
Europe and Japan kept Stussy alive during a long period of it being basically forgotten in the U.S. from the mid-90s to the 2000s.
Yeah, shift the market.
In particular, maintained its appetite for Stussy.
Well, think about it, guys. How much do we covet like obscure Japanese brands or Japanese brands because they're Japanese? Like obviously me, like look at me, I'm a fucking weeb. I love anime and shit. So I'm always going to like be a fan of Japanese stuff because it's from the other side of the world. They think the same way about American brands, and they can fetishize American brands because they're from America and they think it's cool to be like an American surfboarder. So that really makes sense from a consumer perspective. 2000, Nike began collaborating with Stussy in London. The first shoe they did was an Air Huarache. I love the Huaraches.
At Stussy. One
of the best shoes I've never owned. Like one of the coolest Nike shoes I've actually never purchased for myself.
London. A year later, they dropped an exclusive Dunk High. And when I say exclusive, I mean exclusive.
How many pairs?
They only released 12 pairs a day. All right,
For how long?
Huge lines outside of stores. Subsequent releases included Blazer Mids in 2002.
Those are cool.
And the first co-branded Nike sneaker, the Friends and Family exclusive Air Huarache Light in 2000.
I'm good on that one.
In 2005, Nike and Stussy launched the Court Force with matching co-branded tees and the SB Dunk Cherry.
Oof. Chef's kiss on the Stussy cherries from 05. Golden era of SBs. Super clean.
Part of the Team Manager series, now reselling for over $3,000. By throwing in with the emergent sneaker culture, Stussy regained ground.
There you go.
In America.
Get into the kicks, baby.
Streetwear is the natural counterpart to the sneakers in a complete outfit.
You have cherries? No way, Bradley.
Stussy got on the minds of sneaker
OG pair
through its Nike collabs, which in turn brought them back to buy Stussy garms to wear.
There you go.
With their Stussy kicks. Can't just have the kicks.
Nope.
Without the garms.
You can't. It's impossible.
Even so, its revenue still tipped more toward the international market than in America, with a 60-40 split of its $50 million revenue in 2014.
That's still not bad.
There was one last push needed to put Stussy.
What's the one last push? Let's see, boys. We're here.
Cool.
What's the last push?
We started
Come on.
Designing better.
Good clothes, good fits.
Stussy that we see now is by far its most fashionable. It's still built on the original principles established by Sean. And we even see reissues of his original designs.
Retro
Stussy's
designs.
Evolution into more of a label with a streetwear core has been widely praised. The Stussy of today has been spearheaded by Fraser Avery, who took
shout out to Fraser Avery
of global brand director in 2015. He cited 3 key members of what he'd call the brand's new tribe. Men's design director Israel Gonzalez, his women's wear counterpart Jane Goheen, and super consultant Tremaine Emery, founder of Denim.
We got Tremaine Emery in the mix. Oh hell no. Oh hell no.
Tremaine Emery, founder of Denim Tears and former creative director of Supreme.
Oh boy.
The range of stores where Stussy was sold was also refined. It walked away from larger retailers such as Zoomies and PacSun.
Yeah, see ya Zoomies.
More cultivated spaces
Later.
Such as Dover Street Market and Mr.
I mean, that's the
Ford.
right move.
Stussy has pushed boundaries with pieces that include baggy leather shorts, skinny ties with Sean's lettering in jacquard, an almost disorienting wobbly check shirt and trouser set, tie-dyed fisherman sweaters. Right, simply put,
I'm fishing over here.
Rock. The motifs bang, and the taste is unimpeachable. But they
unimpeachable. That's a good vocabulary word.
Such as t-shirts, hoodies, hats, pants, and of course, yes, they all still slap.
The clean pieces,
fun.
The classics.
It's unpretentious and fun. It's Stussy. It says, hey, I know you're here for a t-shirt, but have you considered a blazer? And that's why I love it. Big
Christian
man
Dior?
Sean Stussy retreated to raise his family, build houses, and surf. In 2010, after his 3 boys had grown all up, he launched a new venture called S-Double.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
Began with him making surfboards by hand, and once again, he was eventually convinced to sell clothing. Now, at first, S-Double clothes were only sold in Japan.
You guys ever heard of S-Double?
Cool, but that didn't last very long. The brand took off fairly quickly, but shuttered quietly in 2016. Sean has also maintained a presence on Instagram, where he's shown his current activities as well as old photos, drawings, and graphics. It's also been a place where he's shared his feelings too, about streetwear broadly and Stussy specifically. His most particular gripe is the re-release of his original designs. In a comment in response to a hat, Sean said, "Herein lies the problem. The always lame re-release. My designs were meant for the moment of which they were created. And to have a vintage piece that still speaks to you is what it's all about. Not making more new ones for the money grab.
I think a lot of brands could learn from that. The re-releases are cool, but when they do them all the time, when we see the Nike Wu-Tang Dunks come back out, I don't know.
What you won't find on Sean's Instagram though is the announcement that S-Double is returning. Instead, dude went back to his roots, full analog, to announce that big news with a mural featuring his handwritten manifesto painted on the Australian headquarters of Globe, which is partnering with him for the relaunch. If you know your history, which you should, at least a little more, if you stuck through this video this long, you should be excited about Sean's return to clothing. Based on the order interview he gave during S-Double's first stint, there should be little reason to doubt his intention.
So S logo's coming back, or double S is coming back, whatever it's called.
I'm very excited for Sean to come back, and I'm going to leave you guys with this quote from the man himself.
Let's see it.
The whole idea of a brand is skewed to me right now. You don't start with a brand, you start with a project. And if you do your project with passion and tenacity, the prize is the brand.
That's cool.
The destination is the brand. And you hope it's worth something
Wow.
in the end.
There it is. The history of Stussy, guys. Pretty damn cool. I learned a lot from this video. Check it out.
Thank you guys for watching this video, sticking with us.
Give it a
Feels
like.
good. Super scary, super stressful.
Check out
but
Speeed.
Also, like, really f***ing cool, and I'm so glad that we're doing this. I know it's kind of long between videos, but thank you guys for bearing with us. It's getting shorter and shorter as we figure stuff out. We are not taking on any
excited to see
100% independently
what
produced.
James
And
continues to
with that
create
comes-
with this channel.
It just takes a little longer to make shit. So we're going to do a lot
Dope.
more of these deep dives into the history of stuff. Let us know what you want us to do in the comments below.
History of
Follow me
Supreme.
on Instagram at James Pumphrey, or on TikTok, Kentucky Cobra. Those are the places that I can talk to you every day. We're gearing up. All right, dudes. I love you.
There it is, guys. That is